This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeff Malanoff, and with me is Mark Souza. We got a lot to talk about today in sports. We got Thursday Night Football matchup between the Carolina Panthers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got some NBA games to round up. We also have some MVP candidates to talk about in the NFL, and anything else in the last segment we want to talk about sports, we will get on that. But first, let's talk about the Thursday Night Football matchup. Carolina Panthers, Pittsburgh Steelers, both with 5 wins, if I'm not mistaken, on the season. And their stats are borderline identical.
Mm-hmm.
It's truly remarkable.
Yeah, we have a big game tonight. It's actually the opposite of last week. Last week we had the 49ers and the Raiders, which...
I'm sorry. Panthers are 6-2. Steelers are 5-2-1.
Yeah, because they got that tie against the Browns.
I got a little confused because of that, yeah. That makes more sense.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously this game, Jeff, wouldn't you agree there's a lot more hype today than the last Thursday night football game between Nick Mullins and Derek Carr? We have a different quarterback battle tonight.
And this one's going to be a lot more interesting than the Monday night game between the 49ers and the Giants.
Yay. So... a different quarterback battle for sure. Cam Newton, Big Ben, both are having very good seasons. So you got those stats pulled up?
Yes, I do. Doing the paper again for effect.
Mm-hmm.
In points per game, 27.5 Panthers to the 28.4 Steelers. So very close.
Mm-hmm. Very close.
Points allowed per game. 22.5 Panthers to the 23.5 Steelers. This team's having like the same games, basically, is what I'm getting at. And in total yards, that's where there's some differences. The Panthers are 382.1 yards per game, and the Steelers have 424 yards per game.
Wow.
But it's not in the same, like in passing. For the Steelers, 322.8, and in passing for the Carolina Panthers is 238.3. Mm-hmm. Rushing, there's a 42-yard difference, 143.9 for the Panthers and 101 and only 101.6 for the Steelers, which feels low, all things considered.
Yeah, I think that's we see James Conner. He has more rushing yards than McCaffrey does, but Cam Newton obviously provides that team with a lot of rushing.
But I feel like they should be averaging more than just over 100 yards per game.
Oh, the Steelers, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of just a one-man show, right? Like Ben doesn't really rush. They don't use a whole lot of other players, whereas like the Panthers' offense is more run-oriented. When you think about it, they not only hand the ball to McCaffrey a bunch, but they use a lot of end-arounds and reverses. We see guys like DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, those receivers who are used in the running game. And then you see Cam Newton, who is obviously a threat to run. But for the Steelers, they like to use the running back a lot. But I feel like they use Connor especially a lot in the passing game. So maybe his rushing totals you would assume to be higher, but he's doing it in the passing game too. So,
well, he's having a very good season, no question about it.
Big-time season filling in for Le'Veon Bell.
And again, Le'Veon Bell has not been seen at a Steelers facility.
He has been seen in Pittsburgh, though.
Not at a facility.
At a facility, but not a Steelers
A random
facility.
gym in the city of Pittsburgh does not count as a facility for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
There are videos and photos circulating of Le'Veon Bell working out in Pittsburgh, but not at Steelers headquarters.
This is his last chance. If he doesn't play this week, then he can't be a free agent, correct?
He can report in the next week.
In 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 1 week. Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's next, I want to say Tuesday or Wednesday is his last
He's
day.
going to do it like on Monday at 11:59 p.m.
Oh, yeah. He's milking this thing out. You can absolutely be assured of that. He'll walk in right at the deadline. It'll be like 1 minute before, like when you clock in for work, like you don't want to be late, but you're like, you get there 1 minute early and you're like, what's up, guys? I made
exactly on time.
And then everybody's like, oh, he's going to be late. He's going to be late. And he just comes in. What's up, guys? How you doing? How's everybody doing today?
If he's not here by noon today and at noon 0000, he's going to be there.
So Pittsburgh hosts this game tonight. Do you expect to see a high-scoring game, or do you think we'll see a defensive battle?
Looking at their statistics, their yards allowed per game in defense, 360 to 368.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
For NFL these days. If you give up less than 400 yards,
the surprising thing, their rushing game is way better than their passing. Well, I mean, both are pretty stellar, but bottom line is they're both allowing over 20 points per game, and they're getting over 20 points per game. So if the over-under, let's see what the over-under is. The over-under is 51.5. Yeah. I'm saying over.
It's tough, man. That's these people in Vegas that make these odds, they get paid good money, and I think this is why, because that's a really good number. Like that is a tough number.
Yeah, I'm saying over.
I want to say over because it's more fun to bet the over. Absolutely more fun if you're in that.
I'm just going off statistics right here and how each team is playing. It just seems like it's going to be more than it's got to be like 31-28. That's my prediction right there.
31-28. I mean, that sounds pretty good. You know what? When you look at both of these teams, and you talked about their defenses, both teams I feel like are strong against the run, but their secondaries are definitely beatable. Definitely beatable. We saw Carolina kind of get carved up by Ryan Fitzpatrick last week, in addition to other teams. But the Steelers, I mean, we know their defense has come around. I'm actually surprised to see them playing a little bit better because at the beginning of the year they were just atrocious. They were giving up yards and points to the Browns. Well, that
Cleveland Browns game really showed that they were not trying that game, it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, they've made adjustments, you can tell, but both teams are surging. Carolina's on a three-game winning streak, so they've been playing pretty good football. And then you look at the Steelers, and they've won 4 straight. So one of those streaks ends tonight, it sounds like, unless we have a tie, which I'm not assuming will happen.
So the Steelers would have 2 ties in the season, which I don't think hasn't happened in centuries.
So you say 31-28 Pitt tonight?
I'm going to go Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah. They need to win this game desperately to stay in the NFC South, talk.
Yeah, they're in a good spot for a playoff berth, but yeah, if they want to win the division, then they got to win these types of games. They can't afford to get too far behind New Orleans.
And they're only 1 game behind, and they have 2 losses, so that's saying something.
Pittsburgh is favored by 3.5 tonight, which is an interesting number.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting number. So you like Carolina 31-28. I like Pittsburgh in this game, but
is it home field you're looking at?
But I do think that Carolina will keep it within 3.5. I think Pittsburgh won by 3 points. I don't know if it'll be as high scoring as your prediction, just because I feel like there will be a lot of ball control in this game. Good offenses, but I think there will be some drives put together where long drives, maybe they want to keep the other offense off the field. So I actually have Pittsburgh winning this game. I will say, what did you say the over-under was?
51.5.
27-24 Pittsburgh, the under hits. 27-24, and people will be pulling their hair out.
Yeah, really? A half a point under? Come on.
Hey, 51 is one of those numbers. When you get to that 51,
how do you get half a point?
It's because there's no push.
I know.
But
that was a joke.
I feel like that line will be betted down to 3.
You know, there's 1 point safeties. What if there's like a half a point safety?
There will be that line will be betted down. I'm assuming by kickoff it'll be 3 points, because a lot of people will take Carolina and give up the points there, in my opinion. But it's a tough game. Do you think that which defense do you think has the edge in this game? I mean, I know you like Carolina to win. Do you think that their defense matches up better?
Honestly, I think this is going to be more of who's better on offense than who's better on defense.
So do you think that Pittsburgh will have a tough time containing Cam Newton today?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Gotcha. So your prediction of 31-28, do you see Cam being the difference maker, or somebody else like McCaffrey or a different
I was going
player?
to say Christian McCaffrey is probably going to be the difference maker, because when Cam Newton's scrambling and he can't find the hole when they're going to be charged at him, who's going to be open in the little check down area?
Did you see that McCaffrey touchdown? Was it last game or the game before, where Newton threw it in the end zone and got deflected, and McCaffrey ran and made the catch? Like, it wasn't intended to him at all, but
I think that was a few weeks ago. Might have been last week.
2 weeks ago, maybe. Yeah.
Well, do you remember that weird play? Madden glitch play? I forget what team it was. I think it was it was a primetime game. It was Houston, I think, and then it bounced off. The dude, he caught it, bounced off. It went like 10, 15 yards in front of him, and the other dude caught it.
Yeah.
I forget what game that was. Was that the Jets?
What game was that?
I got to look that up.
Oh, it was the Dolphins game.
Yes.
It was for sure the Dolphins game.
I think it was Dolphin Houston.
Yeah, it might have been Dolphins Houston. Or was it Dolphins Bears? It was a Dolphins game, 100% though, for sure. That was pretty funny. How'd you say Pittsburgh's defense was against the run?
Pittsburgh's defense against the run? 90.3.
That's pretty good. But you think McCaffrey will get?
I was right. It was Houston and Miami.
Yeah. So you think McCaffrey will do most of his damage in the pass game or the run game tonight?
Oh, pass. Pass. He seems more of a threat there than any other place.
Okay. We did not have either of these teams in our top 5 power rankings, but if either one wins...
They were close.
Right.
It wasn't
if either one wins, do they ascend into the top 5, or does it depend on one of those top 5 teams losing?
I think it depends on if they win by a lot and it's like a statement game, then I'll put them up there.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that both of these teams are legitimate Super Bowl contenders?
Absolutely.
Okay. Which team would you say is the bigger threat to win the Super Bowl? They're kind of in that same spot in both conferences. They're like, not the top 2. You're not putting Pittsburgh over Kansas City and New England, at least yet. And then in the NFC, you're not putting Carolina over the Rams. And you're definitely not putting them over the Saints as of right now. So who would you say?
Give me Carolina. They seem like a dark horse, if anything. They're a very quiet 6-2, and I think it's going to continue.
I'd say I'd give the slight edge to Pittsburgh, I think, just because the NFC is more, the waters are just a little bit muddy, you know? Like, there's some teams behind Carolina that are very good. Minnesota could make some noise. Who knows? Even a team like, obviously Philadelphia could make a run here. And those teams
they need to make one quick, if anything.
And those teams aren't even talked about as top of the conference, where Pittsburgh, I think them and the Chargers are kind of in that same boat. But other than that, it's really just 4 teams in the AFC that I see making noise. Would you say that's accurate? Would you say there's more than 4 teams in the AFC that could win the Super Bowl? I have the Chiefs, the Patriots, the Steelers, and the Chargers.
That's the AFC. You said NFC.
AFC.
So the Chiefs, the Patriots, who else?
The Chiefs, the Patriots, the Steelers, and the Chargers. I don't think another team in the AFC can win the Super Bowl. Maybe Houston. Houston might be that 5th team.
I could see Houston.
Other than that, though, is that kind of where we're drawing the gap right there, drawing the line? Because after that, you have Jacksonville, you have Miami, you have...
You could put Cincinnati up there. They're 5-3.
You believe in them?
They need to win one. They just need to win one playoff
Dalton
game.
or AJ Green's hurt, and he might need surgery on his foot.
If they don't win one playoff game this year, Marvin Lewis should be fired.
I don't think they will.
Marvin Lewis should be fired.
He
should have been fired last year.
Do you trust Dalton enough to say that team is a Super Bowl contender?
I'm saying they could be a dark horse. They could be the unexpected one, like not a guarantee.
Yeah.
No guarantee by any means.
Yeah, if they win the Super Bowl, I will eat my shoe. Is that what you say?
I said that once.
Yeah. They ain't doing it. So, I got Pittsburgh 27-24. You got Carolina 31-28. It should be a fun game.
They're close games regardless.
Yeah, field goal game for sure. It will be closer than last week's game and more interesting. That is a fact. So, I think that's it. Should we take a quick break?
Sure.
Talk NBA when we come back?
Sure.
All right. Let's do it.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines. They got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Hello and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We just previewed the Thursday Night Football matchup, between the Carolina Panthers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. A pretty evenly matched up matchup. That made sense. And now we're going to move on to the NBA world. Are we not?
We are. I think we should start with the second part of ESPN's doubleheader last night. The Los Angeles Lakers. They get the win against Minnesota, 114-110. Jimmy Butler did play for Minnesota. The Lakers have now won 3 of their last 4. LeBron James had a pretty good game yesterday. 24 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist. So he was an assist shy of a triple-double. We saw Kuzma with 21 points, including 6 points in the final minute of the game. Brandon Ingram had 25 and 6. And, Lonzo Ball, again, a very subdued game. 3 points, 5 boards, 6 assists for him. But they get the win. Jimmy Butler, 24, 5 and 5 for the T-Wolves. Karl-Anthony Towns only had 13 points, 9 boards, and 1 assist. Derrick Rose continues to put up numbers. 31, 3, and 5 last night. What's your take from this game, Jeff? What do you think about this win for the Lakers and then moving forward?
Well, this was like kind of one of those games they needed a win to bounce back and get more momentum into their season because they started off pretty slow, but this win over in Minnesota was a huge one, and it was a must-needed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Big win for them as they try and get this team gelled and figure out how to move forward.
Still need a lot of work, though.
We saw Tyson Chandler make his debut for the Lakers last night. He only had 2 points in 23 minutes, but he provided 9 rebounds. That's why the Lakers got him. They needed rebounding help. They needed another interior presence. JaVale McGee was basically their only true center. So he provides something. Do you think that was a nice addition for the Lakers?
Yeah, but they really need 3-point shooting, to be honest. And I don't feel like Tyson Chandler is the guy that you can...
Yeah, he's not a 3-point shooter at all. But to the Lakers' credit, because we have talked about their 3-point shooting, they did shoot 44% from 3 last night, making 15 of 34. and they win. So we've seen them lose these games by 4 or 5 points where they're shooting 25 to 20, 30% from three. So, hey, maybe
By the way,
that's the
Derrick
difference.
Rose, another great game. 31 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Are we seeing another MVP year, or are we seeing
No.
another...
But what a great
I see
first couple weeks for him. I mean, that's cool. I mean, whether you're a fan of Derrick Rose or not, I think it's cool when you see an athlete kind of come back and be successful.
He came back from obscurity, basically.
Yeah, he'll never get back to what
went
he was.
7 of 9 from threes, which is really impressive.
He's balling right now, so it's cool to see.
Speaking of other good teams, the Raptors with their win over the Kings, 114-105. The Raptors are now 11-1 on the season, just absolutely dominant.
They are a very, very good basketball team. Not just Kawhi Leonard, all around.
Kawhi Leonard made his comeback this game last night, and he scored 25 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists. So he had a pretty stellar game. Ibaka had a 14-14 game, 14 points, 14 rebounds. Larry had his own 16 points, 8 assists. But I think a team that's kind of looked over right now is the Sacramento Kings. I mean, they did lose the last two, but Buddy Hield with 24 points and Willie Cauley-Stein with 24 points. De'Aaron Fox also had 20 points. Like, this team can score, but they just need better defense.
I think what we saw last night was the Raptors, who are just one of the top. I would say the Raptors are a top 3 team in the NBA for sure.
As of right now, yes.
Maybe even at season's end, because this team is firing on all cylinders.
We will see.
Yeah, we will see. But no, the Kings,
I'm not going to say anything yet because I've been horribly wrong before.
And with Sacramento, I mean, obviously most people thought that they'd probably have 2 wins by now, 3 wins, but I thought they played a decent game. They didn't get blown out. Again, playing another tough game. So, but for the Raptors, you see, guys. Did you know this? Serge Ibaka tied a record held by Wilt Chamberlain. Not yesterday, but in his 2 previous games, he went 23 of 25 from the field. And that was the highest percentage, like over 20 attempts. And he tied Wilt Chamberlain's record for that. And Wilt Chamberlain did everything inside the key. Ibaka had 8 3-pointers in those 2 games. So that was a crazy stretch that he was on. Everything he was shooting was going in. He had 1 miss in one game, 1 miss in another game. Like, insane.
That's pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, it's insane. He didn't have such a stellar game last night, but still 6 out of 10 is pretty good. 2 out of 3 from 3. Ibaka. He's been showing up big time for the Raptors this year.
Absolutely, no question.
That kid Siakam is a good player too. Very underrated team, I think. We think about this team, we think Lowry and Kawhi, right? That's basically all we think about, but they're a well-rounded team. Valanciunas is a good player. I like what they're doing over there in Toronto. So far, would you say that trade, them trading DeRozan, and even if they only get 1 year of Kawhi, was kind of worth going for it?
Well, they have a shot at the Eastern Conference for sure. They're probably the favorites at the moment, so it was worth a shot. This might keep Kawhi in Toronto. Who knows?
It could. We saw last year. Remember when Paul George got traded to the Thunder, and everybody was like, "Why would they do that? He's not going to stay there. He's going to go to LA." And then he ends up re-signing there. So, who knows? Maybe Kawhi will enjoy his year there and stay.
Quite possibly, yes.
All right. What's the next game you want to talk about from last night? We had a couple of good ones.
Sure. Let's go to the Grizzlies and Nuggets.
That is surprising.
A low-scoring game, 89-87, but the Nuggets win this. The Grizzlies win this one with a Marc Gasol 20-point, 12-rebound game. And it was surprising knowing the momentum of the Nuggets and losing to a team that you think they're much better than.
You know what? The Grizzlies are a pretty good team. I mean, do you think that this is a fluke for them being 6-4, or do you think that they can consider to navigate through the Western Conference and be above 500?
You see, it's too early to tell. It's way too early to tell.
Last year they were ravaged by injuries, but with Conley and Gasol back, this team is obviously a lot better with those 2 players. Yeah, it's a surprising start, but cool to see. Happy for Grizzlies fans out there as they struggled to watch that team last year, especially when Conley went down. I mean, that was just a brutal season for them. So,
yeah, when Conley went down, that was kind of the end of their season.
Mm-hmm. So, You know what, though? Conley only had 4 points last night. That's weird.
Yeah, but I think everyone has their down. Like, Nuggets are a defensive team, too. So it makes sense.
Jaren Jackson Jr., 20 points, 7 rebounds. That's pretty impressive for the rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Denver loses. That's only their second loss, though. They've had a nice start to their season. Would you like to move on to another game that I found quite interesting?
Sure.
76ers. I think you called it yesterday. They got a road win. They beat Indiana. Interesting because the Sixers have struggled on the road. Indiana's been very good this year, but 194 as the Sixers. They put an end to their road struggles. They win. We see Embiid with 20 points, 10 rebounds. Ben Simmons had 16, 10, and 8. Just a solid, gritty win by the 76ers. Over on the Pacers side, Victor Oladipo had 36 points.
He's a dark horse for MVP, to be honest.
The next highest score on the team was Sabonis with 16. So Oladipo had 36 of the 94 points for the Pacers. It did take him 30 attempts, but
that's a third of their points.
Yeah, he took a third of their shots too. So, but hey, 36, 6, and 7 is a good game for him. But the Pacers do fall. What other game do you have?
The Pacers fall. They fall on their face. Now, how about the a game that was not so interesting? The Knicks and the Hawks.
Yeah, this is like a lottery game here.
Yeah, Trae Young just struggled.
Did he?
He had 15 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, but he went 6 and 19.
So he had a rookie type game right there.
And he went 1 of 7 from 3-point land.
That's not great for a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, and he was one of the top scorers on the team that game because the other scorers are 16 points, 18 points, and 16 points. The rest are 9, 2, 8, 3, 4, 9, 7. But then you look at Tim Hardaway Jr., 34 points. And yet he goes 8 of 22 from the field. But you know why he has all that points? 16 of 20 from the free throw line. 20 free throws.
That's Hardaway?
Yeah.
Wow. That's called getting to the line. That's some James Harden numbers right there.
Yeah, that's like LA Lakers in 2002.
Oh,
Only few will get that.
Hey, you see that Utah won and Luka Doncic had a big game, though, in the losing effort for the Mavericks. Another big game for the rookie, 24, 6, and 2. He only took 14 shots, scored 24 points. But the Jazz do win. The Jazz are 5 and 6. They're trying to get back to 500. Donovan Mitchell, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Rudy Gobert had 17 and 10, so he gets a double-double. The guy's a double-double machine.
I'll take a double-double with grilled onions.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that is in the West Coast that loves In-N-Out Burger, that's for you.
Yep. And maybe I'll have that for lunch today.
Ooh, that
sounds good.
I gotta work out to work that off though.
Yeah, we saw Burks come off the bench for the Jazz, 18 points in 15 minutes. So a nice contribution there. Jazz get back on their winning ways.
Yes, absolutely. And this is a team that I still think can make noise in the Western Conference, but they still have some ways to go after their kind of a slump they had recently.
For sure. What's the next game from last night that you want to talk about?
Did we do Heat and Spurs?
We did not.
Heat and Spurs. DeMar DeRozan, 18 points, 14 rebounds for the shooting guard, which is pretty darn impressive in my opinion.
Did they win?
No. But 8 assists. He almost had a triple-double. But LaMarcus Aldridge really struggled. 6 points, but he had 16 rebounds, so he made up for it. Mills off the bench, 20 points. Burton's off the bench, 19 points for the Spurs, excuse me. But Hassan Whiteside, 29 points, 20 rebounds, 9 blocks.
Wow, that would.
He almost triple-doubled in blocks, rebounds, and points.
Wow. And the Heat won, what was the score?
95-88.
Wow. Hassan Whiteside, he has these games.
9 blocks is, I feel like that's just as impressive as 20 rebounds.
What's crazy to me is that he doesn't have 20 and 20 more often, to be honest, because he is that
What's
capable.
the all-time record for most rebounds in a game?
Probably 35. I have no idea. That's a good
35.
question. Is it?
Yeah, Charles Oakley.
Look at that. Nailed it.
That's a regular season game.
Yeah, so interesting.
Dennis Rodman has had multiple 30-rebound games. That's absurd.
Did you see the Cavaliers lost again?
Jesus. Hold on. Sorry, pardon my French, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games Dennis Rodman had a 30-rebound or more game. That's impressive.
Wow. So, Cavaliers,
But
they're impressive.
Sorry, one more thing. The all-time record was Wilt Chamberlain, 55 rebounds in a game.
Jeez. Yeah, that's insane. So, all right, let's talk about the other games last night. Cavaliers, their impressive start to the season in terms of losing games.
Okay, I was about to stop you. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're 1-10.
They are the anti-Raptors at this point in the season. They are 1-10. They lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Well, Sexton had his debut starting job, and he had 15 points, so he did pretty decent for all things considered.
No Westbrook, no problem for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Let's face it, I think any team can beat the Cavs at this point.
Yeah, Schroeder had 28.
Duke can destroy the Cavs at this point.
Come on, man.
Oh, it's true. You know it's true.
No.
You think those 3 freshmen alone
College
can handle...
teams can't beat pro teams.
You think Duke can't beat the Cleveland Cavaliers right now?
If Duke played the Cleveland Cavaliers, they would lose by 50 points.
That is such a lie.
That is not a lie.
Are you kidding me?
No.
How good the Duke Blue Devils are right now. You say they're going to lose like 50 points. Oh, no.
Beating NBA teams. Or even...
Freshmen are in the NBA right now. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's true.
So it's not as big. It's not like
And if you took
college football.
If you took all the rookies in the NBA and put them on one team, they'd get killed every single night.
But you're not listening to me. Like,
I'm listening.
There's 5 players on the floor at one time. It's not like the college football where there's 11 guys.
You're going to tell these people that are listening that a college basketball team would beat an NBA team.
I'm saying that Duke, the best college basketball team right now, and probably with the best
with the
freshman,
hype, yeah,
can beat the 1-win Cleveland Cavaliers.
No, come on, man.
It's college basketball. You're so stubborn about this. My lord.
Well, you're talking about half the kids on Duke, more than half the kids on Duke won't even be NBA players or even last in the league for more than a year or two. Now, they do have 3 star young players, and they do have other good players on the team, but the fact of the matter is you're talking about some high school players that, yes, maybe Zion will be a great NBA player, but he's a college player right now.
You were all about him the other day, too, and then I talked about this, and you just...
Oh, no, I like RJ Barrett more than Zion. I told you yesterday that I thought RJ Barrett was better of the two, but no, there's no way.
What's your Twitter or what's your Instagram?
At Mark Hella Gets It.
Make sure he doesn't get it and tweet him.
Yeah,
and tell your actual opinion about this.
Please tweet me if you think a college basketball or a college football team can beat.
No, not college football. College football is completely different. I mean, that's 11 guys. There are 5 guys on the court at one time.
Yes,
the Duke Blue Devils can beat the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yes, please at me, please. Yeah, I would. I wonder what the line would be, the Vegas line in that game. But any other games that we want to talk about last night?
Pistons and Magic?
Pistons.
Did we go over that?
We did not talk about that.
A 23-point, 19-rebound game for Drummond yet again. Blake Griffin had 20 points of his own in this win for the Pistons over the Magic, 103-96. This name, I'm going to butcher it. Fournier?
Evan Fournier. Yep.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, you got
it. 27 points for him.
Mm-hmm.
12 of 19 from the field. That's pretty darn impressive, all things considered.
Yeah.
1 block, 3 steals, but yet 4 turnovers. So that probably was costing them the game.
Yeah. I think
2 players on the Magic had 4 turnovers. Committed 4. But there was also Reggie Jackson on the Pistons. The point guard committed 5 turnovers. This was a turnover bonanza.
Mm-hmm. Now, the New Orleans Pelicans stopped their 6-game losing streak. They started 5-0, then they lost, or started 4-0, and then they lost 6 straight. And then they win last night. Anthony Davis had a big game, 32 and 15, and he had 4 blocks. His best game in about 2 weeks now. He's been a little banged up, but the
Drew Holiday also had a pretty good game himself, 17 points, 10 rebounds.
Yeah, very strong game. He almost had a triple-double. 1 assist shy I guarantee somebody missed like an easy layup or something. He got mad.
Don't you hate it when they like over try hard when they're winning a game or something like that to try to get a triple double? It's like, relax. I know a triple double is important, but like you don't need to go to the opposite basket, miss a layup.
Trying really hard for that rebound.
You remember that there was one years ago where a guy went to his own team's basket, missed it, and got a rebound.
It off of the back.
That doesn't count because that's your own.
You just got to give the man credit for effort, though. The effort was there.
That's lazy. You went to the wrong basket.
The effort was there. You got to applaud the man for being aware. How his awareness trait should go up in NBA 2K. You know,
I don't think he's in the NBA anymore.
I think it was Ricky Davis. Was it Ricky Davis? I want to say it was Ricky Davis.
That sounds about right.
I know exactly what you're talking about. He got the inbound pass, right? And then he tossed it off his own backboard, and everyone's like, "What? That doesn't count, bro."
And then like the end of the game, he throws a crazy half court shot and runs as fast as he can and try to get the rebound.
Grown men. So, what do you say?
All for a statistic.
What do you say we take a break and we come back? We break down the MVP race in the NFL. I think right now, as of today, there's 3 people. There's a couple people that can creep their way back into it, but I think we're pretty sure that there's about 3 that can make a strong claim if the NFL ended today that they would be the MVP.
Nick Mullins.
Not Nick Mullins, but maybe if he continues what he did the other day, he will by season's end be the MVP.
I don't see that happening.
All right, we'll talk about that when we come back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We just finished discussing NBA games from yesterday, Wednesday, the 7th of November. Now we are going to NFL MVP candidates, and you said there were 3 main ones, and I think I know who you were meaning, and I think everyone else know who you were implying.
Go ahead.
Todd Gurley, Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees.
Ding, ding, ding. You got it right. Those are the 3 that I was thinking. Did I miss anyone? Do you have another person that
Nick
you would
Mullins,
say?
man. No, I'm kidding. Okay, I gotta stop. I would have to say... no. Oh, Melvin Gordon could be an MVP candidate.
Yeah, he's like... I'd say Melvin Gordon and Thielen are like on that outside cusp.
Yeah, Thielen had that 22-yard game, so it was kind of took him out of it, in all honesty.
Yeah, but, he could follow that up with, like, maybe one of these weeks he'll have, like, 150 or 175 and kind of take care of that one underwhelming game that he had. But we all know how hard it is for a wide receiver to be in this conversation. You rely on way too many factors. You rely on the quarterback throwing the ball to you. You rely on the opponent, how they scheme you. Will they put their best corner on you? Will they double team you the whole game? It's a little bit easier for a quarterback and for a running back, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, of course, but if a wide receiver is in that conversation, that means that's how good he is when he gets the ball.
Absolutely.
Magic happens.
I agree with that 100%. What a year he's had so far.
You're just going to forget last week's.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you had to pick right now, Jeff, between these 3, who would you give the nod to?
I gotta give it to Drew Brees.
He hasn't won the MVP yet. That's still a mind-boggling stat to me. So you would pick Drew Brees to win his first MVP if the season ended today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think I agree. I say I think because it's so close between these three guys. I mean, Mahomes has totaled, I believe, 33 touchdowns. He's on pace to get over 50 passing and running. Gurley has 16 total touchdowns. He could possibly break LaDainian Tomlinson's record of 31. It will be close. I don't think that he'll get there. But he's in the conversation, which is pretty insane. If he gets to 31, do you think that it matters what Mahomes and Brees do? Or do you think that it's his? Like if Gurley ties or breaks LaDainian Tomlinson's 31
then I would
touchdown.
give it to him.
So what if he has 31 and they win 14 games? And then the Saints win 14 games and Drew Brees has 35 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And then what if Mahomes has 14 wins, totals over 50 touchdowns? Who wins it?
The world implodes.
That would be...
The world just can't handle
they
all
just
that.
give a triple co-MVP at that point? Because that would be absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, I say right now that Brees would be my front runner, but I also say that with the understanding that he has 1 interception on the year. Can we just sit back and realize how crazy that is? He has played 9 football games and he's thrown 1 interception. 1.
That's impressive. That is absolutely impressive. If he continues this way, he will only have 2 on the season.
Yeah. I mean, wow. Can you imagine if he has 35 touchdowns or so and 2 interceptions? That would be maybe the biggest ratio I've ever seen. Touchdown to INT ratio. We know in the NFL if you have a 3-to-1 ratio, that's actually really good. 3-to-1 is really good. 4-to-1 is like MVP caliber.
18-1, how's that?
Yeah, 4-to-1 and 5-to-1 is MVP caliber. 18-to-1 would be
godlike.
That would be a glitch in the game. You know, that would be a Madden glitch right there. So, would you say if Brees is your number 1, do you put Gurley or Mahomes as your 2?
Gurley.
No love for Mahomes, huh?
I'm sorry, but Rookie of the Year, absolutely. But our Offensive Player of the Year, sure. But I'll give Gurley the rub for MVP because he is carrying a much better team, in my opinion, than the Chiefs.
You think the Rams are much better?
Yeah.
You know, it's cool that we get to see these teams play. I think, is it next week or the week after we see the Mexico game?
And I will be proven either right or wrong because that's life, and I got to accept the fact that I'm going to get some things wrong.
That's a very stoic way of looking at that. Very, very humble.
Thank you. I'm going to be right.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the Rams, they look really good, but they did lose last game. They did lose to the Saints. The Chiefs have lost once. They've lost to the Patriots. All 3 teams that we're talking about right now have been super impressive. Are you surprised that Tom Brady hasn't really been a factor in the MVP this year?
No, I just think it's just the fact the Patriots are on a decline. I know they're playing extremely well, but they're on a very slow decline.
You want to know an interesting stat? No team runs the ball more inside the 10-yard line than the New England Patriots.
No one runs the ball more?
Yeah.
I wonder why. Maybe they witnessed something in a Super Bowl game matchup they had.
They just seem to run the ball a lot more when they're near the goal line nowadays, which is interesting considering. I think that's why we see Tom Brady's numbers are a little bit down, not just in fantasy football, but overall. You see his touchdown numbers aren't terribly high because you see guys getting carries into the end zone. James White, Sony Michel. They're even handing the ball off to Cordarrelle Patterson these days. So it will be interesting to see. But if you had to bet on one of these 3 guys that we're talking about for MVP being there at the end of the year, if you had to bet on one of these guys to retain their level of play, who would it be? Like you got $100 and you have to bet it on one guy to not necessarily win the MVP, but to actually hit maybe the pace that they're on.
I'd give it to Breeze.
I'd actually give it to Mahomes, I think. But
Well, you're wrong.
You think Breeze will end the season with under 5 interceptions?
Oh, absolutely.
Under 5?
Yes.
You're taking the under.
I'm taking the under on that. Have you seen him play?
So if he has 4 picks the rest of the year, you'll be surprised. 4 or more.
Yes. Confident as a.
You don't think that he might have a game where he throws like 2 or 3?
No.
Because if he does, it's probably gonna be over 5. Like if he has one bad game, then he might be.
Yeah, sure, you can
We'll see.
say that, but I still think this is Drew Brees' year. He's this dominant. He's this.
He'll finally get his first MVP.
Yes,
What's-
it's time.
What's cool is that it'll be the first MVP for all these 3 guys. Even Thielen's never won an MVP. Melvin Gordon's never won an MVP. So we're gonna get a new winner, is what we're saying, right?
Yeah. Who won it last year? Brady did.
Yes.
So yeah, we're getting a new one.
We're getting a new one. Out with the old, in with the new. All right, so we'll see what happens. Interesting.
We shall see. Mwah.
Do you see a guy? Do you see a guy like James Conner getting into the mix if Le'Veon Bell?
I was
doesn't
gonna
come
jokingly say that, but honestly, how he's been playing, I would consider him a dark horse.
back? Let's say Le'Veon Bell comes back, but the Steelers are like, no, we're just gonna suspend you for the rest of the season because we don't want you around. And James Conner gets all the love, and Pittsburgh maintains all the carries, and plays all the snaps at running back. Wouldn't that be something? If he was like a dark horse that came out of nowhere and then won.
Le'Veon Bell would be gone.
Le'Veon Bell would be upset, I feel like.
He should be, at least. That would be his fault.
Interesting to say the least here in the NFL, as I don't know if I've seen this kind of hype for the MVP like we're seeing this year. Have you? Do you remember? Like, there's a lot of hype for MVP this year because there's 3 players that are on these incredible tears. And we don't know if they'll stop anytime soon.
Yeah, but if you had to pick one of them to stop, who would it be?
I think if we see one of these guys fall off, it'll be Breeze.
I would say Mahomes. I know I'm being like negative about this guy, but I'm sorry.
It's not the Andy Reid stuff. I'm not buying it. Not buying it.
It's the Andy Reid stuff, man. I don't trust that man.
He's got too many weapons. He's going to put up so much numbers. Even if their offense struggles a little bit, he's still going to score rushing touchdowns as a quarterback. He's still going to have a bunch of long touchdowns to Tyreek Hill. Travis Kelce's a beast in the red zone. He throws the ball 5 yards to Kareem Hunt, and the dude runs for 60 and a touchdown.
Well, he does have a hurt groin now, so don't get your hopes up on that.
Who's that, Kareem Hunt?
Yeah.
He's fine. He'll be fine.
You know what? You're going to put too much pressure on him. He's going to come back too early, and he's going to hurt himself.
No.
This is on you. This is on you. Think about his family, man. This is all your fault.
I'm thinking about his family and how he's about to get paid on his second contract because that dude is a baller. Kareem Hunt.
You're jinxing him, man. If he drops, it's your fault, and I'm going to blame you.
Oh, God.
And put a plague on your house.
Well, you guys know my Twitter handle, so, hit me up. How about we go to
What was it again? Mark.
I'll tell you when we
Mark's
come back from break.
hella right?
I'll tell you when we come
No,
back.
wait. Say it. We'll say it, and then we'll go back.
That's Mark with a C, by the way.
Mark.
Hella.
Hella.
Like I'm from California.
Yeah, I know.
Gets it.
He doesn't. We'll be right back right after this.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the final segment of the GSMC Sports Podcast. We are finishing up with some news. We still are trying to comprehend the deal of Des Bryant signing with the Saints officially to a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm. Cameron Meredith got put on IR for the Saints, so now that move makes even more sense as they put their possession receiver that they signed in the offseason.
There is a
IR.
question I must ask you. Is he playing on Sunday?
Des, I think he'll play. I think like a snap count. Like he'll get maybe 20 plays. What do you think?
20 plays? That's a lot of plays.
Yeah, like scripted plays. You'll see. Like Amari Cooper played, but he had a few days extra to acclimate. But Demaryius Thomas played the same week that he was traded. Des Bryant signs this week. I think he plays Sunday. I think. He
Okay,
plays
I would just say in difference to those that they might be a easier scheme to understand compared to the Saints. That might not be the case. I'm not sure, but yeah, I could definitely see him playing this week. He's not going to get like a lot of the stats, but he will get like this will be like a what's the word?
It'll be like a preseason game for him, right? Like he'll play
he'll play
exactly. 15, 20 plays, I bet.
It's going to be let's see how you're doing right now because you haven't played in it like a year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Saints don't want to overdo it, but they want to get him acclimated in the offense sooner than later as they approach the
Did you see him going to the Saints when he was first a free agent?
I think it was a team that I had heard might be interested because you looked at the depth chart and you just looked and you saw, okay, they had Ted Ginn at that time, but then they signed Cameron Meredith. He was coming off an injury, and then they got a rookie, Traquan Smith. So I don't think it's like necessarily the oddest place. If you would have told me a couple months ago that he would land there, I'd say like, okay, I get it. I understand that. For him, though, it's got to be a perfect spot. Talk about landing on your feet.
Yes, absolutely. He went literally to the best team in the NFL, quite possibly. So,
yeah. I want to talk about the Browns for a minute.
Do we have to? Because that's kind of a bummer. We're bummed out now.
The Cleveland Browns, for their next head coach hire, it will be done by their general manager. Who would have thought? What a novel idea. A general manager would hire a coach. But
it's almost like they work together on a daily basis.
Hugh Jackson was hired directly by the owner. The owner was the one that conducted the search, met with Hugh, offered him the contract. But it sounds like the Browns...
And look what that got him.
It sounds like the owner will step back and allow his general manager to do his job. Are you a fan of this move?
You make that kind of mistake, you don't deserve to get the next choice. You lose that option.
Yeah,
I think it's only fair.
But he's the owner, so he doesn't.
I don't care
anything.
who you are. You pick a guy that has only won 3 games in a matter of 3 seasons, and no, I'm sorry, no.
All right, so
when a team goes 0-16, you made the wrong decision.
And 1-15 or whatever it was.
Yeah. And yet you have a great team, a great talented team this year that any coach would love to get their hands on, and you're still losing.
Mm-hmm. Darren Sproles aggravated his hamstring injury. Is it time for him to hang it up?
Does he have a Super Bowl ring?
Darren Sproles does, I believe, have a Super Bowl ring with the Saints, right?
I'll double check that. If he has a Super Bowl ring, then I say retire. If he doesn't, then I understand why he's still here.
Well, he was on the team last year.
But did he, contribute?
He was on the Eagles, so, I mean, No. He was on IR, I believe.
He did win the Super Bowl last year. It says on his highlights he's the Super Bowl champion.
Yes.
But he was... Did he play that game?
I don't recall. I thought he got injured.
I will look at the stats for that game.
I thought he was injured in the season for them. But I could be wrong. While you look that up, though, do you think that...
He did not get one stat.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he played.
He did not play.
So he's been injured for a lot the last couple of years. He's one of the older running backs in the league. I think it might be time for him. What do you say?
It's time to call it, my opinion.
Switching to basketball, LeBron likes the idea of televising the NBA All-Star Draft. We know that they changed the format. They now pick the teams, the 2 captains.
I like that idea, by the way.
You like it? You're a fan of this? I think it's good TV for the NBA. Would you agree?
That's one of the main reasons I like it so much.
Would you watch it?
Sure.
Stream it or something at least? Yeah.
Like having it on in the background while I'm doing something.
That would be cool. It would be funny to see them pick the teams and it be out there in the open. I think it could create some fun types of conversations after that and rivalries. It'd be like, it'd be like a playoff game. It'd be like, oh yeah, I want to beat LeBron because of that time during the All-Star game where he didn't pick me. Remember when he took Harden over me? Something like that. I think that'd be funny.
Yeah, taking MVP over you are so bitter.
You know what I mean, though, right? Like, it'd be funny to see, like...
Kinda?
Like, Draymond be like, yeah, he had the choice of me and LaMarcus Aldridge, you know what I mean? And then
I would pick Marcus Aldridge.
Yeah, I'm not actually talking about the players. I'm just talking about the funny situations that it would.
Some guy gets really offended, like, starts crying in the draft table, like, I don't want to be on the team anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to be on your team anyways, LeBron,
Throws a hissy fit.
But, like, nobody wants to play for your team. But, yeah. That's all I got for news and notes and sports. Do you have anything else?
Only one thing. Nothing. I was going to say something about my single life, but I realized that wasn't going to be funny, so I stopped myself.
Yeah, but we're looking for something in the world of action sports.
I thought I was going to end it like that. Actions. Okay, ha, ha, ha. Honestly, this game, football this Sunday looks like to have like stacked matchups, but I love the difference between this Thursday night game and this Monday night game we're going to have. Because it's two of the best teams in the NFL, two of the best contenders for the NFL playoffs versus two teams that are fighting for the first pick in the draft.
Tonight's game is such a dud?
And then Monday night's like is a shootout.
Monday night's a thriller.
Nick Mullins and Eli Manning shootout. I would love that.
You see both of them throwing touchdown passes and then blowing their like this and they go. Yeah,
I hate that.
Fire.
I hate that.
Cool. So we'll see you guys tomorrow when we discuss tonight's football game and other news in the world of sports.
Also, every game for Sunday, we'll predict our predictions.
Absolutely.
Oh, to recap, what are our predictions for this Thursday night game?
You have the Panthers winning an upset 31-20. I have Pittsburgh 27-24.
Perfect. We will see you tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.